education. His wife had passed away. I actually sung at her funeral. Real close, mentored me. And my senior year, that kind of changed because we were challenging. We had a series of incidents that were occurring on campus, violent incidents. I was standing in the parking lot. There was some guys up in the window calling me nigger. They were yelling out the window. It was like, here, nigga, 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 nigga. Now, I'm from New York, so I didn't cry. I proceeded to say some things about their mother that was incorrect. I'm from the Bronx. You know, I was 21 years old. I'm from the Bronx. That's what we do. But there were some other things that happened in that 4-year period. There had been a cross burning on campus. There had been African student walking down the street in front of one of the fraternities' houses. He'd been hit in the head with a bottle. I mean, there had been a number of things that were going on. So the Black Student Union, along with several other organizations, got together and we began to challenge the administration on some points. One of the points was there was no racial harassment policy. You couldn't get in trouble for harassing somebody because of their race. This was in the 90s. And he took it so personally because I was the president and I was challenging him as a student. 2 years later, I graduated from Ohio State with a master's degree in higher education, student affairs, and administration. I go back for a job interview. And this is a true story. That's why I tell it. I go in for the interview with him. He's the last person I interviewed with. And he says to me, I don't understand why you want to come back here. You hated it so much as a senior. Now, at that point, I had matured quite a bit. And I said to him, who I was as a senior is very different from who I am now as a young professional. When I was a senior, I paid tuition. And I had a right to challenge the university in ways that I thought would make it better. I come to you now as a professional. I want to be a part of the university staff. I relinquish that right because I become a part of the administration. I'm no longer a student, I don't pay tuition. I work for the university. So now my goal is to work within the structure and the system to make this a better place, not to challenge it in a way that is what you deemed inappropriate. He looked at me, kind of laughed. Needless to say, I didn't get a job. Death by experience? Yes, because I didn't get a job that whole first year I was out of graduate school. It was a very difficult time. Very, very difficult time. I was called to pay for, and part of it was I didn't want to leave the Columbus area. I mean, I probably could have got a job if I left, but I refused to leave that area for a number of reasons. And I'm glad I didn't because it worked out for my good. It just took a year. But that was a death by experience. Definitely a death by experience. But I had made up my mind, my senior year, that that was important to me. I didn't know later on what would come of it, but some people. Any questions about anything I've said so far? Any thoughts? When we ask this question, how will you leave a legacy? What comes to your mind? What do you think? And some of these questions, are deep. You're like, I didn't even think about that for a minute. I see you back there like, I don't think about that.
Just leaving a positive influence on people.
Okay, leaving a positive influence on people, definitely.
What are you going to do so that people remember you?
What are you going to do so people remember you? That's a good one.
It's like you use it like a good example.
There are some things that you can do right here, right now, that I bet if I tell you them, you're like, oh, I didn't think about that. You can leave a legacy by doing community service. Being active and involved in doing community service. You can leave a legacy by being a mentor. Finding a mentor. Find an upper class student who has what you want. Looks like they got it all together. Now, if you find out later on they don't have it all together, run for the hills. Because sometimes all that good is not gold. That is the truth. But if there's somebody that you admire, there was a young lady at our school, at Ohio Wesleyan. She was my RA. She was a junior my freshman year. And I just thought, oh my gosh, I just want to be her. And she mentored me. And really taught me a lot. It was the difference between in some instances, whether or not I graduated. Because by the time I got there, I told y'all about 60 people. By the time I graduated, out of the 25 of us that started as freshmen, only 16 of us graduated. 16 of us walked. I think 14 of us actually graduated. So they're the numbers. So ask yourself that question. How will I leave a legacy? We talked about mentoring. We talked about community service, being active on campus. Any other thoughts?
Being really, really, really successful.
And that's something else that I want to address. What I call personal professional development. Your own professional development. You want to leave a legacy? Be the best you can be. Go to conferences. Take extra classes. Learn everything that you can learn. It's so funny. My husband was looking at my presentation and he said, I want to ask you something. It was this morning I was going over it. He was like, I want to ask you something. I hope you don't get offended. And I was like, no, I won't, well, I was thinking in my mind, I hope you don't ask me nothing crazy. But he was like, how did you say it? You said it was about my PowerPoint. It was something like, you said you just did, I taught a class and the kids had this new PowerPoint presentation. They had all these bells and whistles and things flying and it was going, whoosh, and it looked so good. And he was like, look at mine, he was like, yours look like, what he was trying to say in a nice way, because yours look like something out of 1999. That's what he was trying to say. He was trying to be sweet. And I knew that. And so I said, well, I took the information down on the PowerPoint that the young man used, because whatever program he used, it was real snazzy. I was like, I need to learn that. So it's all about preparing yourself to do the best you can do. To be the best you can be, so that you can meet that need. That makes sense? What other thoughts do you have? Any other thoughts?
Be positive.
Be positive.
Because usually like I try to be really positive, because if I walk around and show people that it's like I'm still happy coming to Purdue and being out, that people that aren't out yet might be like, well, maybe I can do that too, and still be happy about it. Because
Be positive.
encourage people.
Encourage people to be positive.
To feed off of what he said, definitely being positive and also being genuine, because people can tell when you're being really sincere about what you do and what you say. And I feel like if you're more genuine, you have a better influence on people, because they can tell. It's the energy about someone who's really real about what they do.
And that goes back to how you're impacting people and the legacy you're leaving in their lives.
I was just thinking about something, that I'm learning now that I wish I would have, been told coming into college. One is, don't be afraid to try new things. For example, I started out in BBOI, which is a inspirational choir, who also, does gospel music at the Black Cultural Center. And so I kind of made my home there. And so that's where I've been the last 2 years. But I realized that I need to make more connections to get to where I need to go. But I was so focused on being where I was comfortable, and now it's like, oh wait, I'm getting ready to graduate, so I need to make these, connections and network and things like that, and get some things on my resume. And so it's start now. Start looking into your investing in your future now. So it's cool to do what's comfortable. If it's what you enjoy, if you like music, do music. But also, look for other things on campus. There's like a gazillion things you can do, and just don't be afraid to try it. I mean, if you try it and you don't like it, you're like, it's not for me, that's fine. But at least you can say you tried. So.